What's up? It's Jonny again, and I'm back with the second video in my series on how to save money traveling. And this time I'm going to be looking at accommodation. So the best way to save money on your accommodation is to stay with a friend. And if you have a good relationship with them, you should get a free room, maybe free food if you're lucky. That's kind of it, guys. Thanks for watching. No. I know that we're not all like that. We don't all have friends in every workplace in the world. So I'm going to propose to you two alternative solutions that you should definitely make use of. You can rule out hotels, you can rule out package holidays. Trust me, they're not the way forward. What I'm about to propose to you is the best way, and you will definitely find a cheaper holiday or travel trip doing this. So I'm going to make this a two-part series. So I'm going to do this one video now on Airbnb, and then I'm gonna post another video very soon on hostels. So these are the two ways, and I'm telling you these two ways will save you so much money, and they'll also give you an enjoyable, affordable travel experience, and they're both trustworthy sources. So start this week with Airbnb. So for those of you that don't know what Airbnb is, just to kind of explain it to you, Airbnb is a service where a local person who has maybe a property will rent out a part of that property, whether it's a bed, a bedroom, or perhaps they'll rent out the whole property, whether that's a flat, an apartment, or a house, whatever it is. And essentially you'll pay a price every night to stay in that place. And it's good because the prices of Airbnb tend to be quite competitive, and they're very, depending on where you go, you can find a really cheap place to stay, and you can find some really good priced places to stay, whether that's just outside of the city you're visiting or whether it's right in the middle. There's lots of options, lots of different types of options out there that can suit your preferences. From my own personal experience, I'd say Airbnb is good for maybe lone travelers who want to have a quiet trip. Maybe if you're traveling in a small to medium-sized group of people, you might want to stay in an Airbnb. With Airbnb, you'll typically get more of a kind of a homely feel than you would in a hostel or a hotel, and it'll also typically be a bit more quiet and a bit more relaxed of an atmosphere. And as well, another good advantage of Airbnb is that you've probably got a better chance of learning a bit more about the local culture and the local ways of life, because you'll typically be staying with someone who lives in the area, knows the culture well, and they'll be living it themselves, and you'll somehow naturally kind of pick it up from whether you go to the shops nearby, whether you're just walking around the area. It's like an additional dimension of the culture that you might not get if you stayed at a hostel, for example. So yeah, that's Airbnb in a nutshell. So now I'm going to take you through another screen example of how to reserve an Airbnb, how to find the best option for you on Airbnb. So let's go. So I'm going to continue in the theme of the holiday to Paris that we booked last time with the flights, and we're going to look for an affordable option to stay for those 3 to 4 nights, however long we're staying in Paris. When you're looking at flights and accommodation, it's always good to look at them kind of at the same time, because you can kind of mix and match to get the best price combination that suits you. So now I'm on the Airbnb homepage. I enter my location, Paris. I've selected my dates. I click search, and then I want to click homes, because this is where you'll find the places to stay. Now, what I like about Airbnb is when you get those results, you'll see two sides of the screen. On the left, you'll see pictures of the different properties. If you're more bothered about kind of what the place you're staying looks like, what features does it have, then the left side of the screen is very much for you. Alternatively, if that's not so much of a big deal to you, on the right side of the screen you can see a map of Paris with different locations of different Airbnbs and their different prices. So there you go. If you're someone who's not really bothered about where they're staying, as long as it's relatively good quality, relatively affordable, then you can look at that right side of the screen. Me, I tend to use a bit of both, because I want to get a feel for what the places look like, but I also want to kind of find somewhere affordable. Now, along the top bar, what you can see is a few filters. You can see the room type if you're looking for just a bedroom, if you're looking for an entire flat. There's also, in more filters, you can filter the properties by what features it has, whether it's got Wi-Fi, whether it's got a kitchen, washing machine, etc, etc. But what I want to focus on now is this one called price range, and for traveling on a budget, this is really, really useful, because what you'll see is you can set a cap or a price range in which you'd be happy to find a property. And what you can see as well is you can see a distribution in the filter, which shows you how many properties are kind of available at that price. So where the peak's higher, there'll be more properties available at a price. Where it's lower, there'll be fewer. So to be reasonable, but to still find something relatively cheap and good quality, I decided let's set a maximum of 38 euros a night. I press apply and the filter comes on. Now when I look down the left and look down the right, I'll only get properties within that price range. So it makes your search narrower, a bit easier to find rather than having a whole load of results scattered all over the place, lots of different types. It's good to filter down your search to figure out exactly what you want. So once I've decided on my criteria for when I'm picking an Airbnb, I'll normally click on a few options that look good to me and have a scroll through and see what's. And as you scroll down the page, you'll see that the host has put a little bit about their property, they'll give a description, they'll advertise it in their way. On the right hand side, you can see how much that'll cost you for your stay. Scroll down, you'll see kind of the policies of the house, that kind of thing. And if you scroll down to the bottom even further, you'll find reviews of the property to say what past guests have thought. It's really important that you read these because these are people's previous accounts of living there. And even if one of them suggests that something might be a bit out of place, it might be worth taking note of because it could happen to you. I remember I had one experience which didn't put me off Airbnb, which I'll talk about in another video, that could have been prevented if I paid a bit more attention to the reviews. So do have a look at the review. And you've also got the map of kind of the area where the property is situated. So taking a look at Myriam's place, she's in Ivry, which is kind of the north of Paris. As you can see on the map, there's a nice few metro stations nearby, so quite easy to get around. And also Myriam's place is a little bit more within central Paris. And here's another option, this time the host is called Clémence, and she lives in Montreuil, which is kind of one of the suburbs of Paris, which nevertheless has still good connections to the centre of Paris. And this is a good area, I can say that, because I've been there myself. And what you can tend to find is often, as in most cases, you'll be able to find cheaper Airbnbs kind of in the suburbs of these cities. The question then that you've got to ask yourself is, do you want to pay maybe a little bit more to stay in the centre and have a more convenient stay? Or are you willing to maybe pay on the metro and spend a bit of time travelling to Paris or whatever city you're staying in to save a bit of money? Again, this all depends on you and your circumstances. And here's another option, Mathilde, who's just a bit north of Paris but has good connections again into Paris. Now this looks like a good property, but it's worth drawing to attention, though she hasn't written this in English, that this apartment is for smokers. And for me personally, this is not something I would take because I don't smoke and I don't particularly like being around cigarette smoke. But if you are a smoker or if that doesn't bother you, then perhaps this is another option you can consider. So yeah, that's kind of been a walkthrough of how to use Airbnb. It's a really great service. I've had lots of Airbnb stays in many different cities and they've all been great experiences. I definitely recommend the service. It's a great way to save money. It's a great way to kind of have a nice stay and keep that homely feel. And have a convenient travel at the same time. And remember, that's just one way, so remember that soon I'll be coming out with a video on hostels, so make sure you check out that as well, and then you'll be able to weigh up whether you think an Airbnb is better for you or whether a hostel is better for you. Anyways, hopefully this will save you a bit of money on your travel. Thanks again for watching the video. Thanks to everyone who's subscribed so far. If you found this video useful, why not leave a comment? If you've had an experience with Airbnb or have any more tips, again, why don't you leave a comment? Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon with some more videos. Peace.